With the time that we've got remaining, just want to ask our panelists very briefly for their key takeaways or their final thoughts. Just a couple of headlines here. Olivier, you led us off this afternoon. Perhaps you want to be the first to give us a few of your closing remarks.
Sure, happy to do so. So the end of LIBOR is coming. One way of dealing with it would be to trade in alternative risk-free rates already as much as possible at this point in time. To the extent that there will be legacy transactions, the key point in time will be when panel banks decide to withdraw from the LIBOR submission process. And here, the best way to be prepared is really to have the right fallback language in the documentation. And to that effect, it would be good to incorporate the market standard fallback clauses into the contract.
Thank you so much. And Les, a couple of your final thoughts as well, please.
I agree with what Olivier said. In the U.S., if the recommended ARC language were used in documents, that would be great. This is a massive undertaking. As I said, 200 trillion in the U.S., 600 trillion worldwide. So to do it on a bilateral basis will take time and money and expense. And so I understand everyone's perspective where it'd be great to do this, with various amendments, global amendments. And I agree with that. So long as, the borrowers are not disadvantaged during this transition, where many of the things that happen in the transition are at the sole and absolute discretion of the lenders. So I think if it's done on a fair and reasonable basis, where a third party determines the spread adjustment and/or it's reasonable, so a borrower can challenge an unreasonable transition spread during the transition, I think that would work. But to do it on a bilateral basis will take a lengthy period of time, and that probably only people with significant amounts, companies with significant, and governments with a significant amount of LIBOR exposure will have the wherewithal or the desire to individually negotiate with the banks.